Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Convocation. This is a special event that marks the beginning of the academic year for our medical school. The beginning of the school year usually is a time of great excitement and anticipation, but this year is different. For many at Mount Sinai and across the country, the start of this school year is darkened by the recent termination of the DACA program. This announcement is deeply troubling, not only for the Mount Sinai students and employees who are part of the DACA program and whose future is now in limbo, but also for all of us who care about their fate and the contributions they make to our community. As you know, these individuals were brought to the United States as children, and in many cases, this is the only country that they know. This is the country where many took their first steps, first learned the difference later in life between DNA and RNA, the country where many met their partners in life and created a home for themselves and their families. This is the country and this is the school where they're living out their dreams. Mount Sinai is proud to be part of that dream, and even in these unsettling times, we intend to do what we can to protect their rights and the opportunities that our country has to offer. In addition to this assault on our core value of inclusion, we have other serious public policy concerns before us that I want to address today. As we meet, Congress is debating the federal budget for the next fiscal year. Issues such as building a wall with Mexico, enhancing the defense budget, rebuilding the nuclear arsenal, and cutting corporate taxes, in addition to the DACA problems, are dominating the conversation. Underlying all those discussions is how to pay for expensive new spending at the same time taxes are to be reduced. The executive branch weighed in with their budget proposal earlier in the year. Of real concern for all the people in this room, and particularly for the recipients on my right, who will be bestowed with endowed chairs today, was the proposed cut in the NIH budget of approximately 22%. 22%. That cut was unprecedented. Many of us were relieved when a bipartisan group of senators and congressmen said the cut was dead on arrival. And instead, the House proposed a 3% increase. And some of us rejoiced. Today, I want to argue that rejoicing was a mistake, and that to accept this negligible increase is a Pyrrhic victory at best, and at worst, an enormous opportunity lost. Today, we're in the threshold of a new frontier that can redefine what is possible from medicine. We've made tremendous advances in genomics and cellular biology and imaging and brain mapping, to name just a few. These are breakthroughs that have delivered tools that are changing the face of medicine, tools that allow us to save and improve lives, and tools that can even reduce healthcare costs. Yet, at this time of unprecedented opportunity, we find ourselves defending the budgetary status quo. We find ourselves in the untenable situation of accepting any small increase as a victory. That's a threat to science, it's a threat to our life's work, it's a threat to the advancement of medicine, and I would argue it's a threat to the future of humanity and what is possible. We have the potential to oversee a revolution in biology in our lifetimes that is equivalent to the revolution in physics that experienced the last generation. The revolution that allowed me to take out this phone, take a picture of my friends in the first row, and send it to China in milliseconds. We are living through that same revolution in biology. The general public, though, is under the impression that Big Pharma is responsible for new drug discoveries. They've lost sight of the importance of academic research. It's at centers like ours where the mysteries of disease are unraveled. Those are the discoveries that make new medicines possible. For example, in just the last few months, researchers in our medical school have made discoveries that will advance the treatment of leukemia, deliver a new gene therapy for pulmonary hypertension, and bring a better understanding of how Alzheimer's disease develops. But with these opportunities comes responsibility. With the stature of an endowed chair comes a responsibility to stand up and let the world know what significant work goes on in your laboratories. We have no reason to be defensive about the need for funding. In fact, This is the time of historic opportunity, a time for us to be bold. Instead of defending the status quo, I would argue we should advocate for doubling the NIH budget. I mean that, doubling the budget. Indeed, under Presidents Clinton and Bush, we had experienced a doubling of the NIH budget. That funding made it possible to sequence the human genome, a breakthrough that we see has enormous consequences for the work we're doing today. Today, a doubling of the NIH budget would inevitably bring forth new therapies that would affect the lives of millions of people. We have the possibility together to achieve great things. We're at a time, I believe, in science that's comparable to the beginning of the Renaissance, when sciences and the arts changed the course of humanity in the 14th and 15th century and unleashed an era of incredible creativity. Today, we have that same opportunity with science to change the world. I hope that one day our grandchildren will wonder why cancer was such a scourge, will wonder why we all didn't celebrate our centennial birthdays, will wonder what was Alzheimer's disease. Our time is now, but only if we raise our voices about the opportunity that is before us and make those voices heard in Washington. Thank you. Now, before I hand over the stage to Dennis, who I believe is the greatest dean in the country today, as well as the greatest Springsteen fan, I wanted to take a moment to thank our dedicated philanthropists who've made these chairs possible, many who are with us today and are celebrating tonight. Dr. Adam Bender, Susan Coleman, Lucy and Mike Danziger, Ivan and Francisca Berkowitz on behalf of the Kest family, and Dr. Norman Orentreich and his family. Additionally, I want to thank Ellen and Howard Katz, the Aaron family, and the late Dr. Henry M. Stratton and his wife Lillian. We thank you for all the support you provide to our faculty and to our school, your belief in us, and your commitment to excellence in research, science, and education. Now let's give them a round of applause because they really deserve it. I unfortunately have been called away, so I regret that I'm going to miss the rest of this terrific ceremony, but I really have to go. But my congratulations to the endowed professors.